Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. I want to do a quick check on my innovation to see where we are with that. Now, we are still at our maximum. How much do we have spreading? We have 8 unspent innovations spreading into our, adding to our tech spread. So we've got quite a bit of innovation available. Yeah, we're producing a total of 200. So we got plenty of ability to flex. I think the maximum for literacy. If it's like 170, then it's 130, which means we're never going to need to build more universities. Obviously, we're getting penalties for doing some knowledge sharing to our tech spread, but that's okay. New neighbors, new grudges. A minority group of Platinians has recently settled in the state of Languedoc, seeking a better future. However, the local French elites are stirring up resentment, claiming the Platinian newcomers will destroy the traditional way of life. They don't belong here. Our French customs, our way of life, they'll be lost if we let the Platinians settle, claimed a prominent landowner, his words echoing in the taverns and markets of Toulouse. The newcomers, hopeful but weary, whisper of opportunity, but face closed doors and hostile stares. Our options are the Platinian people must accept their lot, 20% of French upper stardom pops become more loyal, 25% of Platinian pops become more radical, acceptance of Platinian pops in Languedoc is reduced by 5, we must foster harmony between the peoples, whether Platinian or French, 5% of all pops in Languedoc become more radical, 25% chance Platinian pops acceptance is reduced by 5, 50% chance it's increased by 5, 25% chance it's increased by 15, or the old French ways cannot continue to dominate our modern nation. 20% of French upper stardom pops become more radical in Languedoc, but acceptance of Platinian pops goes up by 20. Here's the thing. I can kind of afford to piss off my upper strata. Let's increase their acceptance. Did that change anything? It didn't really. Alright, that's good. You guys are at 94. As the new barracks attempt to hire as fast as they can. Still building out these rubber plantations. How's the market? Can I subvene rubber export? Let's do it. War with Herrero has broken out. And then, can I subvene tool export? Surely I can. Colonial affairs is up to 5. Beautiful. This should get done really fast. I'm not at all concerned about this war. Yeah, there it goes. Disease among the wounded. The deaths from disease amongst the wounded soldiers have skyrocketed. Imagine a quart. You know how much a quart is? No? Well, picture 2 cups of tea. Now imagine instead of tea, they're full of maggots. That's how much we pulled out of this one poor fella after he was left to fester. This is troubling. Disease among the wounded, minus 40% recovery rate for 10 years, but only for the duration of the war. Offload some of the strain to the civilian medical sector, 20% instead, but extra mortality. I'm going to go with the first one. The recovery rate here is not much of an impact. I am also going to grab my mobilization options and add luxurious supplies, because that's going to give big ol' offense and defense increases. Oh my gosh, the Army of West Africa doesn't have a bunch of methods enabled. Okay, so I reduced their organization, like a big smarty. That's okay. That's fine. War wounded completed. Modern nursing. A group of experienced nurses has reformed the practices in the Herrera versus Kingdom of France war front, resulting in markedly less deaths. The lady with the lamp, they call her, visits the wounded soldiers at night, checking in on them. Real heart of gold, that one. What a revolution for the medical profession. Reduce mortality for the entire country for 10 years. Hell yes. Oh, so good. The other side of the fence. People have been complaining about the difference in living standards between us and our neighbors in Spain. Why? What's going on over there? Living standards are a little high. After the shop door swung shut, they exchanged a meaningful glance. She didn't even notice you gave her the wrong change. Why do you think I do it? Her sort, they can afford it. I'll be damned if the Spanish think they can come here and flaunt their wealth, expecting us to just tolerate it. This is simply an example of global inequality, stronger trade unions, and happier. Clearly, they're liars who cheat foreigners out of their money. -30 relations towards Spain. Or it's the way things are, not worth thinking about. Pops and Eki 10 become more radical. I'll boost up the trade unions a little bit. I don't want a bunch of radical pops for nothing. Do a promotion. The petite bourgeoisie demand the promotion of Major General Alcide Potier, touting his history of loyal and effective service. So many medals adorned his jacket that one could scarcely see the fabric beneath. But it was not yet enough. Chest puffed out with pride, the general smiled as he imagined the look on Tanchad's face when the lieutenant general learned of his imminent ascension. Their rivalry was legendary among the officers. At last, he would have his due. He's earned it. They get happier. Or they won't force our hand. The petite bourgeoisie get unhappy. The armed forces get happy, and he loses popularity. Gonna go with the first one. I'm always doing this. So. I guess I don't... Well, it's not a problem if I improve relations with Egypt. Time to start going after these countries. Let's go after... Well, the Army of West Africa is in the middle of a fight right now. But they're about to win it, I think. Yeah, seems likely. We're already in pursuit. Beautiful. Alright. Let's annex Borneo. No one's going to stop me here. I don't think anyone has the capacity to, frankly. We'll mobilize the Army of West Africa, and we'll throw them out to the front. Are they going up in organization? No, because they're moving. Java is improving relations. Oil in the Ivory Coast. Excellent. Cash flow is really, really good. I suppose I could be building stuff. Let me see. What do I wish to build? How's the market? Iron could still stand to be increased. Steel, too. Fertilizer a bit. I could be producing my own silk in a lot of locations. I don't know why I'm scrolling up when I should be scrolling down. Silk plantations, here we go. Let's just max out the ones in Provence. Rhône has enormous capacity. Let's build that up. We could build some plantations in Japan. Oh, that's right. I was going to see if I could snag control over Japan. That's our next construction project. So, Japan. Let's take a look at your market. Engines are expensive. Fertilizer's expensive. Tools are expensive. Iron is expensive. Oh my gosh, all of your iron's imported. You fuel? Okay, where have you got... I think all your iron capacity is in Tohoku, right? Yeah. Alright, what's the infrastructure situation here? It's not great. Let's start with 2 levels of railways. And then 20 levels of iron mines. That'll kickstart your economy. You need engines. For engines, you need steel. Do you have any steel? A bunch of things are expensive here. Groceries are expensive. Mostly making those yourself, but engines need steel. So, we'll grab Tohoku, we'll build a couple of steel mills, and then we'll build some motor industries. You're being industrialized. Do not resist. Let me see, we need meat and we need paper mills. Where have we got ranching capacity? Plenty in Chubu. 20 levels. Do we need infrastructure here? We should be fine, but we'll build 1 just in case. And then paper. We need more paper mills, and we need a lot of them. Kanto is the capital, right? Yes. Perfect place for paper mills. Let's build up... No, actually, where have they got their sulfur? I forget. I think the sulfur's in Shikoku. Yes, it is. Alright, so we'll max out the logging camps, build 10 levels of sulfur mines, and then we'll go paper mill maxing. We're obviously going to need more infrastructure here. I'm going to throw it in at the top. I just realized I built steel mills, and the railways will not be able to function without the steel mills, so we'll actually throw those in first. We'll put a couple iron mines in ahead of them, just so that we can make sure those get built. Wonderful. So this canal is almost done. Another 20 weeks for them. What else does Japan's market need? They like fruit. More fruit. They need munitions. Good things to build in the capital. Let me see. If we build up iron here, they've got lead mines. So this is a good place for a munitions plant. Let's throw in a couple of explosives factories, a couple levels of fertilizer plants, and a couple levels of munitions plants. That'll be nice. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What do you need, Japan? All your luxury furniture comes from abroad, and quite a bit of your furniture. Of course, a lot of that's mine, so I won't necessarily interrupt that. Grain is very low in production. Oh, these rice farms are not profitable at all. Oh my goodness, it's terrible out here. These ones are good. Just looking at where we've got productive rice farms. What about Hokkaido? Wheat farms. Interesting. They got wheat and rice capacity in Hokkaido. That's fascinating. And you should have gold mine capacity here, right? Yes, you do, in your building. All right. Very good. All right, that's enough for Japan. Let's turn back to Borneo, where we are a-conquering. We're conquering so good. Gobir, you're next. Don't hold your breath. I'm going to eat you. I'm going to eat you like a frickin' egg. How's Sokoto's Liberty Desire? It's low and getting lower. Feeling pretty pleased about that. So here's what we'll do. We'll actually reduce... We'll wait until Sokoto is ready to become a puppet. We'll grab Borneo. We'll grab Gobir. How's the organization of this army? Yeah, it's not great, but they're still winning their battles. The shrapnel artillery and trench infantry really do a number on probably irregular infantry. Oh, the Anti-British Association is disbanded because they don't have members anymore. That's fun. And then we'll go after Gobir, and what will happen from there is we'll reduce Sokoto's autonomy, and then we'll pass the states that we want over to them, and then they'll be perfectly willing to give us to be loyal to us. Because passing them states is going to reduce their liberty desire further, because it's going to be high a little later on. Now, do I want to give... Bagmiri is its own state. What? No, it's not. Wadai. Wadai is part of Wadai. Who would have thunk it? So maybe we'll give that to Sokoto as well, but no, I don't think we will. I think we want to control that directly. I think Borneo and Outer Houseland it makes sense to incorporate into Sokoto. I think the others not so much. I say, not having done any research, let's do a little research. The primary pops of Sokoto are the Hausa and Fulbe people, West African and African heritage, both. Primary religion is Sunni. So let's take a look at some of these areas. Population, mostly Sunni. Okay, Gobir, mostly Sunni. Borneo, 100% Sunni. That's very good. So that's good. We got some Fulbe and Hausa people here. In Borneo, in Outer Houseland, we do have some Hausa people. But we got a lot of people of different ethnic groups as well. So, particularly in Gobir, Tuareg people, West African, African heritage, Equatorial Bantu, are Central African and African heritage, so they're not going to be doing as hot, but they'll be alright. Fulbe people, West African, African heritage, Songhai, same deal. Okay, so it's only the Equatorial Bantu who could have a problem. What about the Kanuri people? Okay, the Kanuri people are Central African. So still have African heritage, and they're still predominantly Sunni. Sokoto, you're doing national supremacy and state religion. National supremacy is going to give them 40 from cultural traits, plus 25 from state religion. That's going to put them at 65, plus a little bit of extra from homelands, I assume. Where's homelands? Homelands. Talk to me. I forget it's 5 or 10. I don't think it's more than 10. So 65 is going to put them at second-class citizenship. Yes. And on national supremacy... national supremacy, second-class citizenship is slightly reduced voting contribution, assimilation allowed, increased loyalism, not reduced radicalism, slightly reduced political strength, but they do have voting rights, slightly reduced wages. It's not ideal. I might make Sokoto go to racial segregation once they're turned over into a puppet, which they now can be. Or do subject payments as well. As we press our way through... Oh, there's multiple fronts now. Well, that's very silly. Do I actually genuinely need a second army down here? Suppose I do. Not a problem. Oil discovered in Sahara. Obviously, they're not going to make peace because I want to steal the whole country. So this might take a little longer than intended, but not too much longer, hopefully. How's the building plan in Japan? Still going well? Yeah, seems that way. Unfortunately, Bornu's got back a chunk of this state. Laurent Colas supports the liberal movement. Hold on, let me look at these new agitators. Let me see. We got Patrice Ventresque, a feminist. Feminist? You? Oh no, he's a nihilist who supports the feminist movement. Based. And then Laurent Colas, a social democrat aligned with the intelligentsia who supports the liberal movement. Cool. Interesting. Things have become interesting. We'll see what comes of that. And we're continuing to finish out the war in Bornu. Episode is... Oh no, we got plenty of time. I got plenty of time left. Still winning battles. We'll go after Gobier next and knock that out, and then we'll just hand the rest of these states over to Sokoto. Again, we just want to give them Outer Houseland because they're already holding part of that. Oil and Oromia, heck yes. And we'll just hit the annex button. Let's get that going. I probably should have done that sooner, but nobody's going. We'll put this other army over here. Well, I guess they're both going there, so... Probably shouldn't have mobilized both, but, you know, it's only money, right? Sokoto. I can't grant you a state because I'm in the middle of a diplomatic play. That's silly. Empty pockets. A series of perceived poor decisions by the French supremacist movement has led to a notable decrease in its ability to raise money. Numerous wealthy sympathizers have quietly halted their support for the movement in its current form. We don't wish to appear partisan. Always the same refrain. The organizer paced back and forth in his tiny office, fist clenched until it felt as if his knuckles were going to burst out of his skin. Occasionally, he stole a glance at the unopened envelopes on his desk, all of which he knew would repeat a variation on the same. Partisan. What did that mean? That they cared for something? That they chose to do something beside count the money in their vaults? He had something important to do, something which would improve society itself. They had a chance to do the same. In that light, how could partisanship possibly be bad? Perhaps it will find an alternative source of funds? 2% of pops in Ile-de-France become more loyalist, and the French supremacist movement gets weaker by 10%. Or, everything dies in the end, some faster than others. No extra loyalists, but it goes down by 30% instead. I'm going with the second one. Get out of here, French supremacist movement. I don't need you. You are not going to provide me with anything useful. Ooh, multilateral alliances. Wonderful. It's going to be reduced infamy generation, and philosophical pragmatism has extra influence, which is nice. And there's the rotary valve engine. Alright, time to mechanize our arms industry. They just think they're not going to be productive, but they're actually going to be productive. man, we got a lot of capacity over here. How's my prestige doing? 5,600. How much are the British at? Because that's the real thing that matters. They're at 6,400. So we're catching up with our increasing expansion of our military. Maybe I should build another fleet. That'd be fun, right? Build myself a fleet and just seize a bunch of British territory. So as you can see, I'm expanding pretty quickly now. I have one more place I can establish a colony. Oh, here. Oh, lovely. Of course, I will race the Portuguese to colonize. The play for power. Firmin Cottrell, leader of the Catholic Church, has made a remarkable play for power in the capital in order to secure a spot for the Catholic Church within the government. However, it's not entirely clear if they should be rewarded for their novel tactics. There's only one light in the street that leads to the Catholic Church's headquarters. There's also only one light inside. There, Firmin Cottrell relaxes among the sumptuous mahogany furniture and velvet cushions. The lamp is identical to those that have been sent from the east. The ends justify the means, and our means are very, very justified. It's difficult not to believe him when he offers an inviting seat by his side. He should be recognized for this, stronger Catholic Church, or not all is fair in love and war. Weaker and angrier Catholic Church. I'm going to go with the second one. You frickin' legitimists, get out of here. This is Orleanist France. Hey, anyone else I can pull into the bloc? I'm very close with Spain. Let's do a little bit more building in Spain. Can I actually, is there anything I can do to get a little bit more, if I provide you with military access, does that give me any leverage? No. No. If I got military access through you, does that give me any leverage? No. Gosh dang. Tragedy. That's what it is. Alright. Is there anywhere Spain has unemployment? There's a little bit of unemployment in Eastern Andalusia. A little bit in Valencia. Not a lot in other areas. A little bit in Navarra. Not really. Standards of living are quite good in Valencia. So let's build up some productive industry. Build some coal mines. Build some iron mines. Eastern Andalusia, again, a little bit of unemployment. Let's build some textile mills. Some tooling workshops. I'm throwing these at the top of the queue. I'm not even paying attention. We're just building whatever's profitable. Let's do a few more textile mills in Badajoz just for funsies. For enjoyment and entertainment. What about in Toledo? Build up our food industries here and our textile mills. I'm already saying our, as though Spain is... as though it is some kind of foregone conclusion that they will be part of our power block. Once again, I'm going to throw all of the sulfur mines that are almost done at the top of the queue. Or with Go Beer. Wonderful. I'll just get that done quickly, and then we'll pass the rest of this territory over to Sokoto. I'm going to throw these mines at the top of the queue, because they'll get done faster. Rubber discovered in Gabon. Interesting. Rubber rush. Rubber has been successfully grown in French Gabon. I've read this event before. French Gabon... Wait, no, this is new. This is new. The fragile nature of these trees and the difficult-to-meet conditions make this achievement exceptionally important. The Amazonian rubber monopoly is over. Those beautiful trees have decided to grow elsewhere after multiple unsuccessful attempts, those stubborn little things. And now it is our duty to end those greedy tycoons' empires. Bring everyone to French Gabon and get to work. Extra migration attraction, extra plantation throughput, extra construction efficiency. Or a reason for our existing rubber plantations to work harder. More throughput, less migration attraction, huge mortality increase. Let rubber always drive new growth, which is the first one, but every time this comes up. We're always concentrating on our existing plantations. Well, the existing plantations is somewhere else. But I absolutely don't want extra mortality, so let's always let rubber drive new growth. Heck yes, I did it. Oh, so good at video games. This war is probably going to close itself out very, very soon. In fact, might be even in a moment. Sokoto, are you still at here? Defiant. But not for long, because I'm going to hand you a bunch of territory, and that's going to make you stronger and stronger. All right, Sokoto, my friend. French Outer Houseland. 23 liberties are nice. And then Borneo. And in exchange, you will go to racial segregation. They're doing it. They're doing it, friends. Wonderful. Another victory for liberalism. So how strong are you? They're enacting. You're still an unrecognized regional power, as is Ethiopia. But we'll be able to grow their strength in good time. We're still way ahead on economy. This run, I might actually make it up to a £1 billion economy. So I'm realizing now the raw power of having a huge economy. Britain's trying to annex Dainam. Gosh darn it! Stop taking over countries. I'm supposed to be doing that. That's my job. So now that I've got reduced infamy generation, annexing small countries is going to be really, really fast. The one thing I want to maybe do before I start really going buck wild is get my next mandate, which is going to be really soon. So what that's going to do, I'm going to go up to Colonial Offices 3, and you're going to see what that does in a second. Building up the things in Spain. Ooh. Spain is actually leveraged. So, Colonial Offices 3 gives us reduced infamy generation against unrecognized powers for every level of colonial affairs. And that means we can absolutely just start chowing down on small countries. Spain, my friends. Invite to our power block. They won't. Concrete dockyards, okay. Would you do it for an obligation? They will not. Oh, they're a GP now. You should never have built up your economy. I was a fool! Must subjugate. No, I'm just kidding. We're not gonna do that. So where are we with tech? We're finally working on the production techs, knocking out the tier 3s. As you can see, the colonization game is going much faster over here. And we're seizing a ton of territory on these little islands as well. A lot of these are going real slow, which is a bit curious, but, you know, that is what it is. And one last thing to check in on before we end the episode. Our king is 9. Our king is 9, and France remains strong. So what if we annex... Yeah, 1.8 infamy to annex West Messina. I will absolutely do it. No difficulties there. 8th French Army, once again, can stop existing. Yeah, see, now we really have the ability to go just buck wild conquering territory. And this will be nice. This will be very, very nice, because now we can get done whatever we wish. Can I subjugate New Grenada? I can. Not yet. I still have this dream of getting Portugal into the situation. Spain, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. How could you? I built up your GDP, and now, because of your high GDP, you're not interested in being part of my power block. You bastards. Thou bastards. I'm going to throw these farms in Japan at the top of the queue. I think they... Subsistence... Low food prices is a subsistence need, and we need to ensure that for our future power block members. Speaking of which, what does our leverage look like? It's pretty low, but increasing. We are guaranteeing their independence, and we do have investment rights. Is there anything else I can do to draft a treaty? A defensive pact will give me leverage. Yes, it will. Does trade privileges give me leverage? It does. Interesting. Let's do it. I'm going for the big cheese. So what's the predicted leverage scaling now? Oh, it's pretty high. It's pretty high. Obviously, we need a lot more, but we're investing very, very deeply in their economy. Here's the war in Messina. This is going to be really fast. With all of these levels of buildings, we should be able to accomplish a very significant growth in our leverage over the country. And that will be nice. Yeah, I knew how powerful strategic investment rights were. I didn't realize how powerful it was in terms of driving economic growth to just seize investment rights over tons of countries by just paying them in cash for them. What's the leverage looking like in the north? It's all right. We could bring Belgium in. An interesting option. I'm seeing now why why it's hard to sort of clinch that last bit. All right, that's the war in Messina finished. And with that having been done, it is time to put a pin in the episode. My nerds, I have had a good time. I hope you all have had a good time, and I will see you on the other side.